Welcome back to another episode of Thinking Out Loud. Hello from sunny Detroit. I'm Joel.
I am Brad. Great to have you back again today. We've got a spectacular episode, if I do say so myself.
I think so. What are we going to do today, Brad?
We are going to evaluate the campaign.
That's right. So today, Intel, in 2015, did a fantastic campaign called Meet the Makers. And what they did was they highlighted several really innovative people that used Intel's technology to come up with literally world-transforming kinds of technologies. And they had a very highly produced, very professional set of 5 videos that they put up on YouTube highlighting these amazing people. So let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And before we do, links down below if you want to take a look at them so you give a bit more context to what they did, how they did it. Maybe you want to watch the video before we get in and evaluate and critique the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a really fascinating campaign that Intel rolled out. We're going to talk about the good in just a minute here, but first want to really set the stage for what they did. So Intel rolled out 5 separate videos highlighting different individuals or groups that are using the Intel chip to really transform society, like Joel said. So we're talking about people like Ken Krieger. We're talking about someone creating a Braille printer. We're talking about revolutionizing music with a turntable. A lot of high energy, really fascinating topics, and it got really personalized really quick. So Intel rolled out these 5 different videos. Like Joel said, it was really produced, used absolutely top-notch people. We don't know anything about how it was done in terms of underneath the hood. So
yeah, or the agency that did it, or but whoever it was did a really, really top-notch job.
Yeah, the production quality was absolutely fantastic. And they rolled out this campaign presumably to try to draw people into the brand, connect with both the head and the heart. So first things first, let's talk about what they did right. And there was a lot of things that they did right.
Yep. So you touched on it, but I mean the first thing is very clearly there was a real world emotional connection to what was happening. One of the creators, or the makers rather, Ken Krieger. This guy basically there was the problem that he solved was for medical crews that were in West Africa fighting the Ebola virus, right?
Yeah.
They could not go in with the laptop and record any kind of data because then the laptop would have been exposed to this virulent, deadly disease and would have to be disposed of, right? So they needed to come up with, and so what they were doing is basically writing stuff on paper. The doctor would come out, stand outside the tent and shout in data back to people who are inside a secure tent that would record the data, right? Highly inefficient. And so what this guy came up with is basically he redesigned a laptop using Intel's technology. It had a completely waterproof case and cover for it. It was a touchscreen available, and then they could submerge this laptop in chlorine to kill off the disease so that they can use it. And again, I mean, you're looking at very limited resources. They're fighting an out of control epidemic that has really, really deadly consequences, and they're able to do something that radically changed the quality of care. And it's not overstating it to say Ken Krieger saved people's lives.
Using Intel's technology.
Using Intel's technology.
And they hammered that point home.
Yeah.
Really brilliant.
Amazing story, and it's an amazing story to tell. And frankly, their video did a really, really good job telling the story.
Right. Great storytelling involved. So whoever the producer was, kudos to them.
Yep.
Really well thought out.
Yep. So that's what we liked about it.
Yes.
And they did another one about somebody who created a Braille printer, so that obviously that's a cheap and easy Braille printer. We can imagine the applications for that. That one got a lot of views, and they told the story about this is the kind of thing that's possible under with Intel's technology. It wasn't too salesy. It wasn't a hard sell. You didn't feel like you were getting beat over the head. So they struck the tone right. For sure.
Absolutely.
So that said, here's where we come in. And it frankly pained me to watch the Ken Krieger video, because the Ken Krieger video, this amazing guy who literally saved lives, this video had less than 60,000 views.
Yeah, so across all 5 of these videos, there's a total of 1.5 million views, which sounds like a lot. I mean, 1.5 million views is certainly a lot, but there was a ton of time, energy, effort
Yep.
that went into producing these sorts of videos. And there was really one outlier, which was the Braille printer video, which got about 1.4 million views.
But that was the only video that got above 60,000 views. The
All the
others
rest
were
are
languishing, 20, 50, 1,000 views, which to me, like I'm looking at that and I'm saying, this is an amazing story. This was a wasted opportunity.
It was. So let's dive into this. So quick math here. So when it comes to trying to produce a campaign that's going to be really effective, we're going to care about the views. We care more about engagement and connection with the content than strictly the views, but we certainly care about the views, and we care about the cost to get those views. So again, we all know that the right eyeballs matter, but let's assume for a minute that we're getting the right eyeballs on this, and go ahead and say, like, what is ultimately the cost per view? And that's not the best metric, but it's certainly a relevant metric.
It's a metric and it's a relevant metric. And just quick disclaimer, Intel, we're making we're making educated assumptions. If we're way off, we understand and feel free to correct us, but we're taking what we know of the space to estimate what you, Intel, spent on this campaign and what you got for it.
Yeah, we're not attorneys. We're not going to be perfect about this, but let's roll out the math and get on with a caveat. So as far as the production costs are concerned, we know people, you know people. Our people, LA producers, have given us an estimate that to produce one of these videos is somewhere in the neighborhood of $350,000 to $600,000 per video just to create that.
Right, so let's take the low end. Let's be conservative. Let's say they got this done for $350,000 because clearly there was a whole film crew behind it. There were editors. This was a top-notch production.
So $350,000 per video, $350,000 times 5 videos. You're looking at about $1.75 million. You throw in a 10% agency fee. We can assume Intel is using an agency, and you're looking at just under $2 million. We'll call it $1.9 million. Right. And what do they get from that? They're getting about 1.4 million views. Let's round up, say it's 1.5 million views. At the end of the day, that's a cost per view of a little over $1.25. So $1.28 per view is what they're getting. So again, great content, great production. At the end of the day, it's a little over $1.25 per view. And again, hopefully that's the right set of views that they're getting. Okay, so we're happy with that in terms of what they've created. The cost per view, that's a question mark. But really, let's dive into what's the alternative.
Yeah, so what could they have done? If we were running the campaign, here's what we would have done, is we would have had 5 influencers who know how to tell stories. Because this is the thing, this is a great story to tell. And Intel wanted to tell its own story, okay? Which they did it well, but the fundamental truth of the marketplace is Intel, not enough people cared about your story.
Right.
So have a storyteller who has an audience, is credible, have them tell your story, right? So
and credible with a track record of views that you can depend on, right? We can look backwards and see they're getting 1 million views, 2 million views, 1.5 million views, consistently delivering on that 1 million views. I mean, Intel was fortunate in that one of those videos popped, whether it was from paid or just the fact that it popped. But at the end of the day, that's 1 of 5, and that you're leaving a lot to chance there.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll finish up talking about the quality of those views. So we would have simply had 5 really credible influencers. All right, let's take the most expensive influencers in this space to have them tell their story. And again, we're going to be conservative when we're estimating their costs. We're going to exaggerate when we're talking about our costs, just to illustrate the point. So let's say each one of those 5 videos was $250K. All right, now you're in for $1.25 million. What's your reach going to be there? Conservatively, your reach is going to be 4 to 5 million. So just strictly on views alone, you're looking at the difference between $1.28 of what they possibly probably paid for, and then using influencers to tell the story and to tell it credibly, you're looking at about 25 cents per view.
Yeah, okay? So to reiterate that, we're looking at 5 different videos, cost of about 250K each. 5 million views, you do the math, boom, you're looking at a quarter versus $1.25. If you use influencers, it's a quarter. If you're going the high production value, it's $1.25.
Right. So now let's talk about really, really briefly the quality of those views. And here's what we're going to compare. The Braille printer video that they did had the highest number of views. It was, it's around 1.4 million right now, right? Out of that, it had about 1,400 likes on YouTube. got posted on Twitter 235 times and had 495 Facebook shares, right?
Yep.
So now we're going to compare that to a video that we did with Shell and their Make the Future campaign that we did with Destin Sandlin from Smarter Every Day. So just comparing social posts alone as a metric for engagement, right? Destin's video had 60,000 likes on YouTube, had 1,600 tweets about it, and then it had 17,000 Facebook posts of people sharing this video, all right? So we're talking about orders of magnitude different. The views are roughly the same. His was 1.3 million views. So his video would have been cheaper to produce, had higher engagement, and just, this is anecdotal, but reading through the comments of people who watched this, the number of people who are giving kudos to Shell Oil, big bad Shell Oil, evil energy company, was saying this is how you do an integration. This is how you sponsor a video. Well done, Shell, for supporting this kind of content. Like, and it was effusive praise that was completely and totally unsolicited. People just took the time to comment and said, yeah, this is how you do it. So Intel, amazing idea, fantastic. Next time, we implore you, get storytellers to tell your story, because you're going to get the same story told in a way that is incredibly engaging, incredibly interesting, that's going to boost your credibility, and frankly, it's going to get seen. It's going to, I mean, the story of the Ebola tablet is an extraordinary story. Let somebody tell it, and let somebody tell it that has an audience. All right, any other comments on this?
Yeah, so just in summary here, here's where we landed. Running it with influencers versus a traditional model, it's going to be 1/5 of the cost when you're comparing 25 cents per view versus $1.25 per view. That's huge. The even better news than that is that the views are so much more meaningful with an influencer because there's trust. There's a level of engagement with the consumer that just cannot be matched when something's being pushed out on a brand channel. So again, the good news is it's less expensive, and the better news is it's so much more engaging. So we hope this helps paint the picture, and for you engineer minds out there who really want to see the details and the math, hopefully this has made a compelling case. Happy to talk more about it. Let us know what else you may want to see in the comments.
Thanks again for joining us. We will see you soon. So long from Detroit. We're thinking out loud. Joel and Brad, thanks for watching.